All right, everyone. Andy Katz, college basketball royalty. Big East Media Day at Madison Square Garden. How great is this to have so many new faces in the Big East, first of all, this year?
Yeah, it's rare. We got 4 new coaches, although they're not new to the Big East. Cal Neptune obviously had been at Villanova. Sean Miller and Thad Matta had previously been head coaches at their respective schools. Shaheen Holloway, obviously, Seton Hall alum. So new in these roles, but not new to the Big East.
Creighton's got the target on their back this year, and this was a shock a couple of weeks ago for sure. How different is this Creighton team going to have to respond now that they're the hunted, if you will? It's an unfamiliar position for them.
Yes, well, for this group. I think we got to think back to when Doug McDermott was in this league. On this floor, they had a great run. I think it was their first year in the Big East, if I'm not mistaken. So they've been in this position in this league. But this just shows, I think, the fact that Creighton's 1 and Xavier's 2 shows the transition of the league. Villanova still is sort of the gatekeeper. I feel like they still have to be knocked off the perch, even though they don't have the personnel yet, and a new coach. But, yeah, I think it signifies, and we saw this really with Providence last year, newer faces near the top of the league, I think is healthy for the conference.
And you bring up a team like Villanova where they're obviously having some key injuries, with Whitmore and Moore, but where do you see them keeping afloat in the early part of the season while these guys return?
Yeah, I mean, the difficult thing for them is going to be weathering that. They got a very difficult schedule. But on the plus side, they're good games. The league will be strong. And I still think by the time we get into January and February, they will be a factor, assuming those guys come back in some form or fashion. There's no timetable on Moore. Whitmore is still in a cast, I believe. But so it's a wait and see, which I think to some degree takes some pressure off of Cal Neptune.
And of course, last year we had a team like Providence, ranked very low in the preseason rankings, came out incredibly hot. Who do you think that team is this year?
I haven't memorized the middle part of the predictions, but I would say, I'd say Seton Hall and St. John's, really. Yeah. The big thing with St. John's will be their front court. Posh Alexander and Andre Curbelo, if they stay on the court together. Curbelo has had a lot of injuries in his career, but if that backcourt reaches its potential, that's going to be really disruptive.
Who's the guy that's improved the most this year, do you think?
That's a good question. I guess I want to see, there's such a buzz about Jordan Hawkins from UConn. And again, another key guy for UConn. It's kind of weird that UConn's not mentioned much. I thought they'd be picked maybe second. So, by the way, you guys know this, correct me if I'm wrong, that because that game was not played last year, this is the first time since years ago that we're going to get a true home and home with UConn and Providence with fans, I should say.
Yeah, this is a long time coming.
Because UConn went to Providence the COVID year in 21 with no fans.
I was at that game. It was pretty dreary. Yeah.
So now to have the fans back for UConn to coming into whatever we're calling it now, I think that's going to be a great atmosphere.
And to close it out, what is one hot take that Andy Katz has for the Big East? One that you've been, marinating a little bit, thinking about. What is that one
that might make people angry?
All right, well, you pressed me on that. I'll say that St. John's will make the tournament.
That's rational.
That's fair.
Yeah.
Okay.
Not too hot. It's hot enough to maybe make some people mad, but 90% of the group will enjoy it.
I'm sure you'll post this.
Yeah. Andy Katz. Thanks, Andy. Appreciate it.
Thanks so much.
All right, thanks,
Thanks a bunch.
Okay.